At first, I'm not gonna lie, like that sound system kind of jarred me a little bit. I played in like very big, loud sound system, but when you have like that kind of sound system, like I would say that like the first 10 minutes was like out of body. If you see any pictures, 90% of me is just like looking like a cow, just you. And like, I'm not on anything, I promise. I'm just focused. So I just have like pack it down, just like going through it. In terms of the visuals, I get to speak about my like collective Powerhouse. If a club has not like provided us like their personal flyers, I'll do that myself. I'm not just like basically just like, oh, just put like the time and what we're doing. It's more just like, who is gonna be that, what neighborhood am I in? What kind of music are we gonna play? I take a lot of references from old rave flyers.
Way too easy to just, find a generated image and slap some text on it and call it a flyer, right?
Yeah.
Fill in this blank for me. House music is. Mark, hey, thanks for coming over to Tiny Table Radio.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Especially it's a rainy day out, and you made the trek. So, But tell me, how'd you first get into DJing?
Yeah, so I've DJed probably for a little over about a decade. Usually started in college, but it was more like open format, just throwing parties. As far as like just house music, I've been doing it for a little over 4 to 5 years. So started out just throwing parties on my rooftop, and then basically going and actually taking a plunge and having a point of view myself. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I feel like a lot of people start with the rooftop parties, right?
yeah.
Tell me about one of those first few. Oh, hey, Parker. Tell me about one of those first few rooftop parties.
Yeah, so one of the first rooftop parties, I obviously I go to a bunch of shows all the time, so I would get people to come back after the show. Basically, a lot of my friends have like studio equipment. They have all like the CDJs and all that stuff. So just get people to come back and basically keep the night going until whatever time in the morning, maybe in the night. Who knows? You know what I mean? So
Yeah. What were like your early musical influences then?
So I guess my early musical influences kind of just was passed down to me from like my dad. So my dad immigrated here from Haiti, so he moved to the city, pretty like Flatbush. He also lived in Montreal for a time. So he made a point basically to, instead of doing like strictly just like Haitian stuff, Haitian parties, Haitian music, he was in the jazz scene. He's a painter. Um, and basically he passed that down to me in terms of the art, but also passing down listening to jazz. Basically, and like some people have like Sports Center growing up in their background on TV, and my family is literally just like the world music channel. Like it truly like was that. So
Cool. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Is there any particular song that just like takes you back to your childhood or like your home, like a jazz song or anything that you remember from that?
I mean, anything from like Miles Davis. Basically, like I can do a single song, and usually like the giant steps kind of thing. So yeah.
Was there any particular moment, or was it just kind of part of your upbringing that you were just around music so much that made you say, "Hey, okay, like I want to actually be able to like give this to other people, start DJing myself"?
Yeah, I think or in general, I'm just around musical people in general. I think that I was getting that like positive feedback that I kind of know what I'm doing. I like to share music all the time. So from then on, I kind of just, maybe I should actually do this in a wider format, because I do have a pretty decent point of view. So that's kind of how I started. So
Staying on the subject of the past, I know we were chatting a little bit about this earlier, but there really seems like there's been a shift in the music scene and nightlife scene post-pandemic, right? What's your take on what it was like, leading up to, the 20 teens, like even the 2018, 19 versus how it's evolved since COVID?
I think in general, like go talk about now, especially like Brooklyn, there's like 20 clubs in Brooklyn like right now. In the past, the ones I've went to like CLO, Webster Hall, Pasha in the past.
Yep.
I think there was fewer, but I think now there's more. Like you can literally throw a rock and you're in the club. So I think I like, if you had asked me that question, some people have a negative view, but I have more of like a positive view that like there's so much time, there's so much parties, so much just like scenes going around. So I think it's just better in my opinion.
It seems to me like there's been, it's thinned out a lot of the places, so there's more options.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's given more people more opportunities to shine, right?
Right.
Like,
Right.
these venues, there's at least a lot of the venues out in Brooklyn now it seem like the primary focus is on music,
Right.
not so much the like entertainment aspect that just happens to be a DJ there,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
And I don't know, I mean, it seems like, at least for me, that's the vibe that I appreciate when I go out anyway.
Yeah. And I think there's also like, outside of just house music, I play like back in the day in Manhattan, it was up like bottle service
Yep.
sections. And I think like I've always never been that type of person anyways.
Yeah.
So I love like the fact that it's like just way more inclusive and there's so much like parties to go around. So
Tell me about one of your favorite gigs or sets that you played so far. Was that out
Mhm.
in like in a club, or was it a rooftop, or what was it?
Yeah, I guess a highlight in the past year was basically playing at Elsewhere Zone 1. That's a place that I've gone many times in the past. But actually doing the loop and the full circle loop of actually like playing there, that was a big highlight for me. Invited It was a big deal for everyone around me because like we all like to the same music.
Mhm.
We've gone to Elsewhere about a million times.
Mhm.
So it's like just to be up there and be able to share music there. It was a great
Yeah.
moment for me there.
How did that feel?
At first, I'm not gonna lie, like that sound system was kind of jarred me a little bit. I played in like very big, loud sound systems, but
Yeah.
when you have like that kind of sound system, like you kind of, I would say that like the first 10 minutes was like out of body for
Yeah.
sure. Like, yeah, it was
Yeah.
definitely out of body. Yeah.
S- in a good way.
Oh yeah, for sure. I just think I was just like vibrating a little bit. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, like I'm actually controlling this. I'm actually here.
Do you
I
know?
mean, so yeah.
Do you remember what track that you played?
It was definitely like a Kerry Chandler track because I love to play like a Kerry Chandler track at least like the first minute or two. That's just like my jam right there. It's just
Yeah.
Kerry Chandler, yeah.
And the first time I saw you play out was in the cargo room at Dead Letter Number 9 with
Mm.
Wolf Spritzer, and you guys were playing some just really fun vocal house. Would you say that's like pretty much your lane and style right now, or are you exploring other sort of genres?
Honestly, I don't have like a. It's always going to be house focused, but I think in terms of like what my lane is, I like definitely would say everything Afro house, deep house, anything that gives you like kind of emotion has like a really heavy just like drum beat basically. That's kind of like my jam. Is just kind of doing that. So.
Yeah, when you are DJing, whether
Mm.
that's with with somebody else or on your own, do you have like a consistent creative process? Do you
Mm.
plan for a set? Walk me through, leading up to a gig and through the gig.
Yeah, so I guess like the creative process or just like kind of like I don't ever plan what tracks I'm gonna play. I have maybe I don't know if I'm playing for like an hour to 2 hours, maybe like 60 tracks.
Mhm.
And they all like some DJs they'll just start from the jump and just go in. I like to just kind of tell a story or just like really just get people especially if it's like at the beginning like intro set like I'm playing at 10 p.m. like I'm not gonna play just go heavy in the beginning so
Right.
just like in terms of how I planned it, maybe just by energy. So I
Nice.
felt like peak energy, maybe at midnight or something like
Yep.
that, or just yeah, that kind of stuff. So
You're also a graphic designer
yeah,
as well, right?
yeah.
And so, you know, having an eye for visuals, not just the sound, how has that kind of shaped your taste or your preferences too?
In terms of the visuals, like in terms of like, I could speak about my like collective powerhouse. Basically, if a club has not like provided us like their personal flyers, I'll do that myself.
Oh, nice.
I'm not just like I'm not just like basically just like oh just put like the time and what we're I'm just more just like who is going to be that what neighborhood am I in, what kind of music are we going to play. I take a lot of references from old rave flyers or I'll take it from there was DJ Honey Dijon. She
Mhm.
had basically a pamphlet of like old rave flyers in this magazine called Record Magazine.
Mhm.
So I could take a lot of inspiration from like that and just like that's places like photo books that I go to. So that's kind of like how I use like the graphic design kind of
Love
knowledge.
that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, because way too easy to just, find a generated image and slap some text on it and call it a flyer, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
It's so nice to hear someone who really considers like the rest of the environment of leading up to a set too. Like that
Mhm.
that's really, at least for me, I appreciate that a lot. And I find that really refreshing to hear. So,
Yeah.
I think that's just a really unique piece of what you can bring to the table, honestly, because I think, many DJs are playing the music, and that's the art that they're able to provide, which is awesome in and of itself. But I
Yeah.
think that's really cool that you're able to like really hone in on that.
Yeah.
Take me through like kind of the creative direction of Powerhouse too. Like I know you mentioned that earlier, and like
Yeah.
so you're doing the designs for a lot of the visuals and the art for that as well.
Yeah, doing designs for all the visuals. Also, I have a photo book on the way. So the past
Oh.
2 or 3 years that we played, the original, like even the Powerhouse name, I kind of like came up with. It was just kind of like Bauhaus, Powerhouse, and
Mhm.
kind of the same thing. Basically the direction of like the colors that we use for like visuals. So like a lot of house music colors like purple, light blue, basically like that. So the kind of the visual direction for that. Whether we're playing like a disco set, have a reference to like a disco label like South Soul or something like that. So that's kind of how I bring my like design to and the creative direction to that.
When you mention house colors, the
Mm.
blues, the purples, for the flyers, where does that come from? Like what
Yeah.
kind of like makes you think, okay, this should have some blue, this should have some purple. These are the house colors that I'm thinking of.
I think it's like when you design, like you say you're doing like a branding for somebody, you try to see like a through line through all of it, right? So in the house colors, what I mean by that is like when I go through like hundreds of like records, I see what's like a through line through all of them. It's always like a light blue. And
Mm,
deep house is always like a purple.
mm,
That's kind of how they come up. Or like red, it can be like a techno or something like that. So
mm.
kind of like evokes like the emotion, like the red that like I just mentioned. But that's kind of like the through line there. So like you just see, honestly, it's just seeing patterns.
Okay.
And then like when someone sees that on a flyer or sees that on like a big like billboard, like they might not know it, like, but that's kind of like in the back of their mind, they actually do kind of like know it and they very like recognize it. So
I'm curious, is that something that you learned through graphic design, like
yeah.
through studying, or just from your own like experiences?
I guess a little bit of both. I think like I tend to just like love patterns. I think all
Okay.
humans love patterns. So like,
Yeah.
you know, oh, that's the same thing as like this. And you know what I mean? So that's kind of, I like just get, I use those both interchangeably. Say like a Moody Man track, like you see like a lot of it's like purple or black, because like deep. So I guess like maybe someone else is doing the same thing because they see like a Moody Man track. So they kind of like keep on like step after step doing the same thing. So yeah.
How did the collective even come about?
Yeah, so it's pretty organic and pretty like happenstance. Andrew works with or Andrew's wife works with Bridget. And then me and Andrew were basically just DJing practicing around at Pirate Studios. I'm sure many
Mhm,
people like know what Pirate Studios is.
mhm.
And then one day basically he was like, yeah, my wife's friend Bridget, she's also a DJ as well. If she just want to come like jam with us. And from then on we kind of just like we're pretty aligned like musically. We're also having a lot of fun with it. So that's
Mhm.
basically how it started from there.
Talk about, a challenge that you've faced through, DJing and just your music or creative career as a whole, and like how you
Yeah.
overcome it.
So I guess a challenge is, I guess, my own like reservations about like how I like show up like digitally. So like
Mm.
I'm 32. But in my brain, I'm really like 60, to be honest.
Old
So
soul.
yeah,
Yeah.
very old soul. So usually like my kind of line of thinking is kind of I just let the music speak for itself. I don't need to be on like the TikToks or just like be a face in your phone every
Mhm,
day.
mhm,
I'm just trying to get you like come to my show or whatever the
mhm.
case may be. But I think that's also like a scapegoat for just maybe like not always trying to be like seen as like, but I kind of realize that like this thing that I'm doing, DJing, it's bigger than me. You know what I mean? I'm just like a conduit for just pushing the music from people now and also people before me. So that's kind of how I get over like the hurdle of just like being too cool for school. And no one's actually too cool for school. It's just like you just got to put your stuff out there.
Yeah.
So that's how I can kind of get the hurdle is that like it's a higher purpose, not to
Nice.
be too like spiritual. Like
No, that's
yeah,
good.
yeah,
No, I think that's a good way to reframe it too, because I think we all have the tendency to overthink what other people might think of what we're doing.
yeah,
You know what I mean? No, like I've heard a lot, and I kind of believe it too, that nobody cares about what you post or put out there as much
yeah,
as yourself,
yeah,
right? So, but yeah, and also having that frame of it means more than just, it's not about me, right? So it takes kind of the pressure of like, oh, am I being selfish by putting my face on the phone,
yeah.
kind of thing, out of the way. So,
Yeah, you can relate this to like music. I mean, there were, or even like sports or anything like this. Feel like there's a Michael Jordan who's playing at Rucker Park right now. Never got the expo, whatever the case may be. Or there's a guy that's might be a better DJ than anyone out in the world, but it maybe just didn't have the perfect luck to or put themselves out there. So it's just like you got it's like I said, it's bigger than you just put it out there.
yeah,
It's the music is not just enough these days, unfortunately.
that's true.
Yeah.
But switching out of music, what is one non-music essential that you always bring to a gig?
Honestly, I could say like just a pack of gum.
Yeah.
If you see any pictures, like 90% of me is just like looking like a cow, just eat it. And like I'm not on anything, I promise. usually just like even have one drink, but
Yeah.
I'm literally just my mouth is just it's just kind of just maybe like a tick, just like I'm just focused. So I just like pack it down, just like going through it.
Focused chewing.
Yeah, yeah,
Any upcoming projects or gigs that you're excited about?
yeah. So the upcoming gig will be at Jupiter Disco. And I also have a running party. So this will be the second installment of Syncopated Souls, which is basically a deep house, Afro house, Latin music party. That will be in the first half of this year. So
What
yeah.
inspired you starting Syncopated Souls?
So basically, me personally, I was not seeing as many like deep house, Afro house, smaller scale parties, especially in Brooklyn. Obviously, when we have like the Titans, like Iran Trent or Oscar G, when they come to town, that's great. But I think in the smaller level and as well as to like smaller DJs, I would definitely like to see more of like a community within that. So I think when I didn't see something or myself, I just make it myself. So you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's kind of how it went.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where can our listeners follow you, stay in touch with you, stay up to date with your music?
So you can follow me at CRVM Life, CRVMSLIFE, and also at POWERHAUS.NYC,
Cool.
as the collective as well. Yeah.
And Cram as your artist name. How did that come about?
Yeah. So it's not very complex. It's yeah, I like to go with my gut with a lot of things. You know what I mean? I don't need to think too much about it because honestly it's like what you're putting out there, it's what your brand is.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just my name backwards. Yeah, that's
With the
kinda
A.
like, yeah, with the A flipped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. No deeper meaning than that. Got it.
No,
Sweet,
sure,
sweet.
yeah.
We always ask our guests this one last question, or I guess this one last statement at the very end. So fill in this blank for me.
Mhm.
To me, house music is blank.
Spiritual. Yeah, that's kind of do it. Yeah.
Mark, appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for listening to that latest interview on Tiny Table Radio. It would help a lot if you hit that subscribe button now so I can bring on more guests and keep this show going. So hit that subscribe button now, and we'll see you next time. Enjoy the set.